Darren, first thing, we've had a free week on the training ground to get to grips with the team and look ahead to what is a very, very big game this weekend. What have been the kind of messages to the players, and what have you been working on this week? With obviously without giving the game away, but what's been the key priority this week for you?
I think the key priority for us this week is that on Saturday we identified we weren't at the greater levels that we should have been. We didn't capitalise on the performance that we put in against Leyton Orient going forward, and though we started the game really, really well against Oxford, it sort of petered out after sort of 15 minutes in, and we know that we have to be better than what we showed to have any sustainability in the game. So those are the kind of messages, but the players are, grateful of another game on the horizon in Burton. We know the importance of the game. For us here at the football club, it's the next game available, but it's the next game for the players and myself to put what we felt the wrongs right on Saturday, because there's far more to the team than what we showed on Saturday. So those have been the messages, and those have been some of the principles that we need to work on and make sure that we're not repeating those.
It's a 6-pointer in it. There's no other way to dress it up, because if you win, you do close the gap on one of the teams you can reel in.
Yeah. I mean, that's the importance of the game for both clubs. But selfishly looking at ourselves really in terms of the game, and that's what we're just looking for, and making sure that the group of players are ready, focused, and ready for what's going to be another difficult game on Saturday, but a game that we're really looking forward to.
Just to mention, I'm aware that you've had some players training with you and you've had some guys working with you at the moment. I think, am I right in saying you had a friendly in the week where you had a chance to look at them? What can you say about that and those particular players?
Yeah, we what we did was we spoke about early over the weeks about looking at the free transfer market, and what we did was we had 3 players in that had been training with us for 2 or 3 weeks. We played them in a game at Wolverhampton Wanderers, behind closed doors friendly. It was a wonderful workout for us. It gave us 1 or 2 of the players that's on the fringe minutes under the belt, which are needed because we've got a busy schedule that we're coming into, so it's essential to give the players some match minutes. And we got them, and we had a good look at the trial list. Will we be going forward with the 3 players? We won't be. The reason being because we don't feel at this stage they would contribute much to us in terms of the physicality, because what you now is that we've been training all season, and when these lads come in on trial, there's so much needs to be asked of them to pick up the baton and pick up the physicality of the game, and we just, after looking at them in real life, at real time action at Wolves, and that we just didn't feel they would probably contribute much to us. So after them training, after 2 or 3 weeks after the game, we didn't feel as a staff that it would be right going forward with them.
It's obviously very difficult to judge that, I imagine, because you know there are holes in the squad that you need to fill, and you've got to change something. But I suppose, is it a matter of holding your nerve and not just picking the first free agent that walks through the door? You've got to be really careful about that.
Yeah, there's elements of that, and though there's elements within the team that yes, we'd want to strengthen areas, I always said that it's got to be for the right reasons, and I can't just sign players just for the sake of signing players, because if they're not going to be up to the level where I want to take them, it'd be wrong to sign them. And though there's areas in the team that we could strengthen, and though the players that we brought in was to identify those areas, when you look at them in training, it might be pleasing on the eye, but once the ball's in real-time action, then you see the decisions they're making, you see the positions they pick up, you see the physicality to sustain in the game, and all those are huge contributing factors in terms of making a decision. And they'd been in the building 2 or 3 weeks, and it just goes to show you, even being in the building after 2 or 3 weeks, to get to the level where they need to get to impress, then they're just a little bit short. There's no reflection on the players, it's just the level and the demands of the game.
Away from that, you've had a player away on international duty this week, Bailey De Pepper, who's scored twice for the England under-17s. It's great for him. We've just talked to James Wilson as well about what that can do going away in internationals and playing, coming back to your club. I know he's missing this weekend, but it's good for the club, but it must be good to know that you've got a player with so much potential on your hands.
Yeah, I just, when I arrived at the club, when I saw Bailey, I just knew he had to step up and be in around the first team, and hopefully what the supporters have seen and what everybody else has seen is somebody that we're nurturing, we're developing, and he's somebody that's going to be an outstanding player for Port Vale. And even at the tender young age that he is, you've seen him play in the first team, you've seen him score goals in the first team. Am I surprised that he scored 2 last night for the England in the 17s? No, I'm not, because there's more goals for him to come. And it's wonderful that he belongs to us, and it's quite an exciting time for all the Vale fans that they'll get to see more of him. And long may that goal scoring feat continue with him, because he's certainly got the potential.
And that's a big thing, I suppose, that you've got to be careful with him and nurture him, because it's easy for him to, if you like, get carried away. I'm not saying he would, but you've got to kind of mentor him that way. Not just you, but the rest of the staff have got to mentor him and guide his career when he's not playing international football, and make him a good club footballer just as much.
Yeah, it's great for him to, first of all, be away in recognition for the international. It's great for his experience and to be in that high-level elite environment with like-minded players like himself. And then when he comes back, his confidence will be sky high. But it's myself, the staff, the more experienced players, the support staff that are really got to show that level of support with him. He's a great kid, great family background. And he just wants to learn. I think that's the most rewarding thing with Bailey, that he wants to learn and develop. And while ever you've got a player that wants to do that, then, in terms of his development, you can't go far wrong.
Just away from him, another player who's come through the academy and has been in the first team is Reece Walters. I've seen a lot of people asking about what the situation is with him and his contract. He's one of the few academy players who hasn't yet signed up a pro deal. Can you just give us an update where the club is up to with him at the moment, please?
Yeah, so Reece is another one that's come in. Reece, just for his development, was at the turn of the year, he hadn't played much games. So what we've done with Reece is we've been behind the scenes, giving him a lot of games in the under-18s, getting him up to match level, because you can be fit, which you've heard me talk about. The trialist players that do come in, Reece has been no different in terms of he's missed a lot of game time since probably December. And since coming in and seeing his attributes that he's got, what we've done is we've dropped him down into the under-18s just to get some match minutes, but you'll see him back involved with the first team fold now. So in terms of that, that's good for him. So he'll be back around it. He's had his game time. He played in the week at Wolves as well, amongst other under-18s games. In regards to where he is with his contract, we want him to sign. We want him to stay with us. We see him having a good future with us and longevity with us, so we want him to sign, and we've made that quite clear. So we're understanding the situation, so he's still got a part to play, and as I said, we'll look to continue to work with Reece and continue to develop with him, because he's got a lot of positives and attributes that he's displaying, but we know also part of his game that there's parts of his game that we want to develop with him being so young.
Last thing I just wanted to ask you about was, we've chatted a lot about mentality and the approach to games from a mental point of view. Away from the training ground and the tactics and the physical things, what do you as a manager and your coaching staff do to try and help players mentally? Because let's not dress it up, we're on a bad run of form.
Yeah.
So how do you help them, and what do you do to try and make sure that those players are mentally right, away from the tactics and the physical side of the game?
Yeah, it's doing things different. Yeah, you have to do things different, because what happens is they can conform to a certain pattern that you do. So what you end up doing is change things. You change the training environment. You change the rooms, the classrooms that they sit in. You change the dynamics of training. You change the dynamics of video clips that they may see. You change the dynamics when they enter into the training ground. You change the dynamics where it might be a guided discovery approach in terms of getting them more to interact with you, in terms of them searching for the answers instead of sitting just receiving the answers, really. So there's a lot of things that you continue to change. There's a lot of things you try and continue to change in the environment to spark a change in the mindset really, because the group of players, you know, I suppose the frustration for me as a manager is seeing what they display in the week in training, and you want them to display it where it matters most, which is on a Saturday. And at the time, we see it in sporadic moments, but we're not catching it from Vale over a consistent basis. And that's why the frustrations was, because probably at Leyton Orient it was probably the longest consistency in the game that they showed, and a level of solidness to their game, and understanding a goal threat, and then you want to build on top of that. And though it started bright on Saturday, we didn't show signs of that, and the game sort of petered out. So those are the kind of things really we continue to work on them, which is essential really. But also them coming amongst themselves and getting a group mindset in terms of what's expected. Because sometimes the message can come just as strong amongst themselves as much as the support staff. So those are all things that have been encouraged towards them in terms of them getting their mindset in the right frame of mind to approach the game and compete in the game.